Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, HOTS fans of all flavors. I'm Omster, and today we have what should be a great match between two of the better teams in Division E here in Season 19 of the Nexus Gaming Series. Habitual Line Steppers versus really aggro Ghoul Elites. So, these two teams have, this is a replay cast, so these two teams have already played, so there won't be a draft phase as we're casting from replay, so we'll do a quick draft analysis when we leap into each game. I'm not able to tell you who picked which map or who got first pick, but that shan't be particularly relevant, I don't expect. So, for their part, Habitual Line Steppers have banned the two double lane maps, so Battlefield of Eternity and Brax's Holdout. They appear to prefer larger maps with more macro, so they banned the smaller maps that are more teamfight focused. On the side of really Aggro Ghoul Elites, they have banned Cursed Hollow and Infernal Shrines, two maps where macro are incredibly strong. Now, I believe they often ban Cursed. I'm not sure they always ban Infernal, but they seem, considering that HLS seems to prefer macro maps, it looks like Rage wants to take some of their better macro maps away from them. So game number one will be on, in fact, one of those large macro-y maps, although there's not as many camps here, on Alterac Pass. This is a map that generally shares both team fights over the objective, which is a very strong pushing mechanic that increases your damage when you stay within the circle. And there's two bosses, both are neutral, one on the top, one on the bottom, and two camps that I think are the fastest respawning camps in the game, with null camps on each side's middle lane. So timing that well, while continuing to soak lanes, while also providing pressure on the objective when it comes up, is of paramount importance. So being able to allocate your resources most appropriately is what usually gets you a victory in the end of the game. With that said, let's pop into this game and do a quick draft analysis in this Div E game between Habitual Line Steppers and really aggro Ghoul Elites. So we see on the blue side who is going to be Habitual Line Steppers. They've drafted Greymane, Dahaka, Tyrande, Varian, and Sylvanas. This is a remarkably strong push comp that's only going to be bolstered if they win the camps that are, excuse me, the objective camps. Because they increase damage, if Sylvanas turns off the tower and then Greymane can drop his beast auto attacks onto a building, it will not last long with the support of that objective, the raiders. However, the other side does have some tools to prevent that. Tychus Odin is very good at desieging. Ragnaros can just straight up take away that opportunity. Junkrat can kind of push Greymane away with mines, and Anubrak has Impale, which lets him at range kind of push away. So they may have to win a fight or out-rotate to get full advantage of that. But other than that, it also has some very good blow-up potential. Varian Tyrande or Dahaka into Varian Tyrande can really lock a person down to blow them up. So all in all, the global of Dahaka, the blow-up ability of the Variant Tyrande, and the push ability of Greymane Sylvanas, it could work on a lot of different maps, but with a team that seems to like macro, this seems to be a very well-considered, well-drafted group of characters. On the far side, we have Tychus, a new Brightwing Rag Junkrat. We've already discussed this a little bit. Kind of an all-around good comp. It's got moderate team fight, I would say. The follow-up to the Anub Engage or Brightwing Poly is good, not great. Junkrat has good control, but more utility damage than burst damage. Tychus has good damage, but it's also slower, so Rag is actually the burst in this comp. And so he's going to have to really be on top of hitting what Honey Badger does. I would say they are going to have slightly more difficult execution for team fights, just in the sense that everything they do are basically skill shots, while Varian is a point and click. Greymane's if he goes go for the throat, is a point and click. So it's a little easier to capitalize on the draft of habitual line steppers. But again, at the end of the day, all games are skill matchups. There had a little bit of a leaky nose. That's fixed. So let's not waste any more time. Let's introduce these teams and get game one started between habitual line steppers and the really aggro Ghoul Elites. As we unpause on the side of the Alliance, the side of the Dwarves, and Varian, nope, Stormpike, Bandar Stormpike. We have the team Habitual Line Steppers. We've got No More Heroes on Greymane, Vern 15 on Dahaka, Turtwig playing Tyrande, Peldor on that variant, and Sylvanas being played by Boomer, APM. On the red side, supporting Drekthar, the Orc, we have really aggro Ghoul Elites. We have K4K on Tychus, Honey Badger playing Anubarak, Lagwagon playing Brightwing, Urban Punk playing Ragnaros, and Sun Raku playing Junkrat. Now, Habitual Line Steppers did start with a Sylvanas Cheese. This is not at all unusual. The Scouting Owl does come out to see if there's a rotate to help, but in fact this team predicted it and had a 2-1-2 set up, and Brightwing does teleport in so that they only get half of a tower here. So a good response by Rage, predicting the Sylvanas Cheese, and on a map this big, the rotates are slower. It was a good attempt by Habitual Line Steppers, but really Aggro Ghoul Elite seem to have done their homework. They expected that this would happen. Vern does get caught on this Dahaka. He's taking a lot of damage, but the heals are out from Turtwig. He is going to live. But a great attempt early at controlling the Dahaka to his death as he digs top to go up against Urban Punk. Well, in the bottom, Sylvanas is controlling this bottom lane. Now, the camps are up. Both teams should be sending someone to deal with them. It looks like Greymane on the side of Habitual Line Steppers and Tychus Brightwing, the Fruit Fly and the Gunner, on the side of really aggro Ghoul Elite. If we look at level 1s, we see it's a meatball build for Rag. It will give a fair amount of power around the Tribute. And again, it gives him that burst follow-up to a noob engage. We've got Viciousness for Greymane, Racecar Dahaka, the E follow-up, which is good with Buntberry, and the Lion's Maw, so a pile of Lion Fangs for Peldor's variant, and Might of the Banshee Queen for Sylvanas, stacking up that spell power. And on the other side, we've got Quarterback for Tychus, Beetle's build for a noob, Hyper Shift as per usual for Brightwing, as we said, Meatball build, and a Mind Trap build for the Junkrat, who is being pushed in here. But in comes the Brightwing, and Sylvanas uses the Haunting Wave, is attempting to get out. The bomb tried to get some value there, but Boomer APM is able to get out with this Sylvana. Clean play from both teams, a great teleport in from Brightwing. Now that is going to leave a new Baraka K4K alone in the mid lane, and they are taken down. Level 4 is hit. Peldor does have his taunt, and they manage to catch and kill Honey Badgers and Nubarak. And they kill, and as we see, immediately into Wolford. Here comes the taunt, the K4K he takes so much damage, he's down to 300 HP, and he is forced to back away, as it would seem that right now, Brightwing does not have her teleport phase shift. And so this gate will go down to the camp and strong auto attacks of Habitual Line Steppers Greymane. Death timers are short. Honey Badger is back, and Lagwagon has also rotated to help. Sanraku can clear waves easily, but he doesn't have the dueling power of a Sylvanas, who's attempting to force him out of lane. He's taking a lot of damage now, but here comes the trap, and there comes the Haunting Wave. Sanraku uses the bomb to save his own life, using this stone as an opportunity to force Boomer's Haunting Wave, so giving him a little more safety. Out comes the Haunting Wave again. Sanraku is so low, he needs to be careful. One misplay could leave him dead. The black arrows will come out. It's going to be another gate attempt from the members. Sanraku's so very low. In the top lane, it's fairly even between Vern and Urban Punk. Sanraku, again, has great wave clear, but has no dueling ability. He is going to be forced back, and the entire mid gate and the bottom gate are gone. Peldor now getting very low. K4K with the machine gun, or the minigun, really. Just docking away. Now, Honey Badger's a Nubrak. One of the reasons the Nubrak is popular in this map is the Beetles can hold these off while a Nubrak captures the camp. There's no one nearby to answer this, and so Rage will actually be the first ones to pick this up, even though they are the second to level 7. Noticing the Haka did go with the Feeding Frenzy Gambit. Peldor will recapture this, but the Bed of Barbs slowing him down. I don't think he's realized that he's not recapturing. So, with about half the time, 13 seconds to 30, that's a big lead for Rage. Both teams still looking to find lane advantage as Sunraku and Boomer will both begin to rotate. Boomer again, just looking to pour damage onto this poor Junkrat, but oh, the counter engage. They get a bunch onto Boomer. His E is also down. He will get killed. A beautiful bait by Sunroku, taking that Sylvanas to her death as she uses her E in an attempt to blow up the squishy Australian. Out comes the stun from Turtwig. Honey Badger will continue. And she has some good delay tactics, but she's not going to be able to now. Habitual Alliance is going to have to back up. Dahaka's killed in the top lane by Urban Punk. It was a battle to the death, and Urban Punk went low, but he is the victor in that fight, as Dahaka does lose one stack of his Feeding Frenzy Gambit, and we're going to see the Orc Raiders, I forget what they're called, but the Orcan Raiders are going to come out for Drekthar and push towards the Alliance's forts on the side of Rage. So the Frostwolves are coming. They're called Horde Cavalry. So some unfortunate plays there. Some small mistakes from individuals in HLS gives a big advantage here to the members of Rage, who do love to teamfight. Here comes the taunt on Honey Badger. The follow-up stun. He's at about half, but here comes the Brightwing phase shift, and now Peldor is forced to back off as they're trying to deal with the Horde Cavalry in the mid lane. A Lava Wave at 10 is coming down for Ragnaros to bolster this and keep Greymane from clearing it as quickly as he'd like. While in the top lane, Vern is continuing to battle Urban Punk. The laser drill is dropped. Peldor clears it. So far, the gate is gone here. The gate is going to be gone in top, and the gate is gone bottom, but no forts have gone down. But out is coming the Riptire, and Honey Badger is looking to engage. A good shadow stalk there from Tyrande. Out comes the bomb. It does so much damage, and the follow-up kill from the grenade from K4K, and they're going to take this bottom fort in response. They said, it is unacceptable. We didn't get a fort from the cavalry. Let's do it now. But Boomer now is pushing the counter engage. But here comes the meatball and the E from Urban Punk. Boomer will use Haunting Wave to get away, but is not able to get as much damage onto that fort as she would have liked, as the bottom fort does go over to the members of really Aggro Ghoul elites. We do see 10s come in for both sides. We go for the throat for Greymane, a big burst option. Can help him kill, I would say, more Junkrat and Brightwing than anyone else, although if Ragnaros gets low, he can be blown up quickly. We've got the Isolation for Dahaka, Shadow Stalk from Tyrande we've already seen. We do have the Shield Wall from Varian and the Wailing Arrow. So looking to blow people up in fights with Wailing Arrow and go for the throat, and the Isolation to prevent. Rage is going to push hard. Blue team is going for the bottom boss, but they're going to give up a fort. There's not really much they can do to stop this either. It's at a third of its health, a quarter of its health. Sunraku is just auto-attacking this. And even though this is coming out, even if they don't fully get it, it's prepared. It's just prepped to take so much damage. Vern will come down. That's going to leave Ragnaros alone on the top to push into this gateless fort. And Rage is really taking every macro advantage they can. Now, they did give over the boss. I'm not sure they expected it to come out. The attempt on the burrow charge for Honey Badger, but does not get Peldor, and so they're forced to back off and defend against this boss in the bottom lane. They went for Laser Drill, Cocoon, Blink Heal, Lava Wave, and Riptire on the side of Rage. The Lava Wave will come out mid to help clear, and that camp is almost entirely dead, although there's only one hit left for Rage's camp. The boss looks like it will be able to take this bottom fort. Not quite. Oh, it's only got 117 hit points. The next time someone looks at that sideways, it is going to go down. Both forts in the mid, not at full health. About 60% there, about 10% here. In the top, both forts are still full health. The kills are 3-1 in favor of Rage. Both teams are equal at level 13 right now in terms of levels. Sunraku and K4K, again, they're just immediately positioning for what they want on this map, and they do have a numbers advantage, although Dahaka is coming in Lagwagon blinks away, does not want to be caught by the tongue. That is a death sentence against this team for the Fruit Fly. Both teams positioning up. Now, Junkrat has pushed in the bottom wave. Vern looking to see. He tries the tongue, but instead grabs a Beetle, and Beetle build can be so strong against this kind of CC. The taunt comes out on a Honey Badger. A 3-person stun on the jump into the go for the throat. Honey Badger is dead as he gets blown away by the Greymane damage. They do take down this fort. The tongue is out on the K4K, taking so much damage. Urban Punk pops the Ragnaros trait, known as... It's not return, but I can't say what it is at the moment. But he pops the trait, turns into a giant raid boss, but that is a 2 for 0. But No More Heroes is getting really low. Ragnaros, yes, finishes him off with the help of Junkrat, but the tongue onto Junkrat. He will be blown away even with the blink heal from Lagwagon. The isolation is out onto Brightwing. The stun is attempted, but a good... Wait, she blinked heal... Now, this is something I've been seeing recently. They will still have the visual of isolation on them and be able to cast spells. So I don't know if the blind perhaps lasts longer. Oh, the silence is for 30 seconds and the blind is for 6. Okay. Yes, that had confused me earlier. But it's a 4v4 now. 5 more seconds until Greymane is back up. 2 more seconds for Junkrat. The tongue on the grab onto Urban Punk's Ragnaros. Haldor starting to take some damage here. A good stun onto 2 in the back from Turtwig's Tyrande. The laser drill is dropped as they are at about 15 seconds on this camp. Turtwig is taking a lot of damage. Out comes a grenade. Tyrande's dead, but Lagwagon, their healer, gets targeted and 7 up. Haldor is getting locked down, and Rage is doing what they love best, fighting. They kill Haldor's Varian, and now they will engage. And in the meanwhile, all these waves are pushed out. Top is down to half just from minions, and Dahaka has to answer this bot wave. Sylvanas running away, trying to use the Haunting Wave. She now has double Haunting Wave, and is able to survive being chased by the members of the really Aggro Ghoul elites. And while they have control of this camp, a noob will handle it alone, while the rest of the team takes this prepared fort in the mid. It's dead. It's gone. They're going to engage on the camp here. They saw that No More Heroes was here. He tried to finish the camp before they came, but he smartly walks away. Not going to give them the experience from his death as well as the camp. So, once again, the Horde Cavalry will be released and will launch into battle on Drek'Thar's side. Now, Sylvanas is going to come up and use her black arrows to take a mid-fort in return. So they will remain equal in structures. Boomer, he knows he might have to give his life for this. He's using a Haunting Wave, but they are prepared for that. He uses a Haunting Wave again, but he's not able to. He's taking so much damage from Meatball. A good Wailing Arrow gives him an opportunity to escape. The stun, they're trying to return this fight. The tongue goes on to Ragnaros, but in the bottom, Boomer and Turtwig get focused by the Riptire. It comes out. It only hits Peldor and Vern. They have so many hit points, it doesn't matter. Cocoon comes out onto Turtwig. Are they going to look to turn this fight, or are they just going to back away, as it looks like the Horde Cavalry are going to be coming in soon. The tongue is onto a Nubarak, but Urban Punk pops the trait once again. He gets the stun, and Peldor gets bopped by a bomb and killed by Tychus. And Urban Punk now able to do even more siege damage with the Ragnaros trait. And he is going to purge them by fire. Out comes the laser drill, the damage of this fort. The jump onto Vern. He's taking so much damage, he gets booped out by the Junkrat. 16s are here for both teams, but it's benefiting more the side of Rage Gaming. They're doing so much damage. The fire comes through the top, letting that fort be sieged up easily, as the bottom is also being sieged up by the Cavalry Raider. They rotate quickly to the bottom. They will not have Dahaka for 27 more seconds, and Varian is still 5 seconds away from being on the map. Sylvanas splitting top to push back against Urban Punk's Ragnaros. But here we see the bot is going to go down as well. It's taking so much damage. They will not be able to stop this. Now all they can do is hope to defend. Peldor looking at Urban Punk, but he's all alone as he is one stack away from finishing Lion's Maw. But they engage by a Nubarak and they jump onto Boomer. He's killed instantly. So much CC, so much control. The rest of the team was looking at clearing. There was a communication deficit here from the side of Habitual Line Steppers, and the non-stop aggression and the crazy amount of pressure being put on by Rage is really keeping HLS from communicating in the way they want to. It was assumed this was a map they preferred with the size of it, but it's really going the way of the team fights. There is the tongue onto Lagwagon, but Honey Badger comes in and instantly trying to save him. Honey Badger takes so much damage, he's blown away by No More Heroes. The Cocoon does come out, and so does the Riptire. The silence is out onto K4K's Tychus. It is a 1-for-0. Sylvanas will be back in 4 seconds. But they have no more keeps, and every lane will be sending not a catapult, but a Reaver minion, a powerful tanky minion towards the core. And going towards the top is Ragnar. This trade is called Molten Core. Thank you for reminding me, game. They need to win a fight at some point here. They cannot win with this much pressure coming to the core all the time. They lost so much by staggering some deaths here. And again, the love of good team fights, the love of coordination by the members of really Aggro Ghoul Elites has made the attempts at macroing this map. They've made good choices on the side of Habitual line steppers, but they're struggling to do it. Now, they're on this boss, but they're not killing it fast enough to rotate from Rage. Rage is not going to come all the way down, as a matter of fact. They do give this boss over, but now the blue team needs to get back in time. Vandar Stormpike has 0 armor right now. All the keeps are down. This boss can kill him. It is a 14.5-minute boss. It has 29,000 hit points. It's going to do some damage to the Dwarven Commander. It is not being pushed with, but it does give Rage the opportunity to take another Raider camp. And if the Raiders get on this core like this, it will be game over. Now, Rage is almost level 20. They're going to have to take a 19 to 20 fight here if they want to have any chance of winning. This is going to be difficult. Junkrat coming in from the back. They are 20s. We see the rewind in for a new Brack, the double lava wave, and they're going to go in now. Out comes the Wailing Arrow. They manage to kill Brightwing immediately. Sun Roku goes down as well. Honey Badger taking a lot of damage. The Shadow comes out. Here comes the taunt onto a new Brack. The lava wave is going bottom. Everything is pushing towards the core right now, but a crucial 2 for nothing while down 20s with a beautiful flanking Wailing Arrow, and the Habitual line steppers knew what they needed to do to win that fight, and they did it beautifully. Now, Rag has popped Molten Core, is attempting to prevent the capture by the members of the Habitual line steppers while they wait 34 more seconds for their teammates to come back. But they do manage to capture it. Now they're taking so much damage from the Molten Core. K4K gets incredibly low, but Sylvanas dies first. She got baited into chasing the Tychus and was killed for her efforts. 20 more seconds on the return of Brightwing and Junkrat. Remember that Brightwing can return immediately with phase shift. The lava wave will go to the top, but Honey Badger is attempting to take this while using beetles. They know they have a time advantage here. Tychus will be killed. And in the mid lane, Vern is fighting the low mana Urban Punk, but Brightwing is back. There is the silence, but they do get the camp. They're going to kill Honey Badger. Urban Punk does manage to get away just in time. But Vandar is now spinning to win. He's doing his best Sonya impression as he tries to kill these Reaver minions. And with every lane being pushed in, these Horde Cavalry are going to walk straight towards Vandar Stormpike. The boss on the bottom got very little value. Got the gate and about 10% of this keep. Vern, trying to run away, does not want to get caught and killed before his team has a chance. There's a triple Reaver wave here. No More Heroes looking forward, wants to do as much damage as possible. 20s have come in for this team as well. They have the Hunter's Blunderbuss. They're looking for a fight, but they're letting the cavalry onto their core. They do push back the members of Rage, which will give them more opportunity, but Vandar has already taken 6,000 damage of his health. They have to kill these cavalry. He's at half health now. Out comes the Riptire from the Junkrat. Rage has started to walk back in with Lagwagon and Sun Roku. Here comes the last Reaver and the last cavalry, but they do manage to defend their Dwarven Liege. Vandar Stormpike is still alive, and now his health will begin to regenerate. The only core in this game that can regenerate health. So Vandar will continue to thonk things with that big Dwarven hammer of his, while Drekthar comfortably sits over here with a double-headed axe and a sword going, I think my guys are doing all right. How are we at APOC? Words are hard for casters, especially less bright casters like moi. I'm liking what I'm seeing from both compositions. Both teams love to fight. And both teams have a good sense of what they need to do to be successful in fights. It just comes down to really who gets their positioning first. If Honey Badger gets that burrow charge that he wants, it works so well. If Boomer and Vern can get the flanks that they want, they can really pile onto the members of Rage. But again, in terms of macro pressure, the fact that every lane has a Reaver that's going to push straight into their core, there needs to be a real sense of urgency here for the habitual line steppers. You know what to do. Just listen to the sound of my Scottish voice. The prisoner camps will be live in 15 seconds. A dwarf stuck in a horde cabin here. And, I mean, this gate looks like it's locked a little better. I don't know. Dwarven craftsmanship, man. It's just better than orcish craftsmanship. In the top, they're ready to immediately take this boss. Honey Badger anchoring, but they're going to go immediately into taking this boss. It looks like Habitual Lime Steppers is aware of it, but I don't think they're going to be fast enough. The boss is already down to half. It's down to a quarter. It's not going to be able to be contested. The traps are here, and the laser drill is down as well. This was a trap. It was a huge trap, but the silence is not on a new bracket. He's killed immediately. Here comes the jump, the taunt, and they kill Tychus at K4K as well. Peldor taking so much damage with the drill. He is going to die, but out comes the silence. They kill Brightwing. They're jumping onto Sanraku. He manages to get away, and Urbanpunk pops the Molten Core to defend his Junkrat. The boss and the Reaver minions are jumping onto Vandar Stormpike as the blue team needs to try and defend while also getting an advantage. Sylvanas has gone back to stop this, but at this point the boss has more health than Vandar Stormpike. The boss has more health than the core. This is going to be a fight for the ages. Vern down here fighting, but he's actually outnumbered. It is a 2v1 at the moment if he stays here. Meanwhile, the boss is going to go down before Vandar Stormpike because his bodyguards showed up. Vern trying to keep himself alive, ducks into that bush a couple of times. He has finished race car build. Now, there's 12 more seconds before Lagwagon is up, but the rest of the members of the team will be back shortly. They do see what's here. The trap. A good meatball stopping the collection by No More Heroes. The bot lane purging by fire. Varian has remained behind, and this is actually not the best choice. Varian clearing the wave. Huge wave middle. Sylvanas willing to eat... Excuse me. So willing to eat the trap. Honey Badger recollecting. They've gotten about 15 seconds. They're looking to be aggressive. They know that both the Dahaka and the Varian are still just trying to defend. Stuns coming out and Owls coming out from Turtwig. The trap comes out from Sunroku. The cocoon is out onto Varian. They put a bomb there. The mud, great place for a trap as it chases down Varian. Oh, the Impale is badly timed, but the Polymorph comes out. Peldor is very, very low. But out comes a Wailing Arrow. They're getting so much damage. The Nubrak is dead again. K4K is taking a ton of damage as well. The front to back is working just fine for the members of Habitual Line Steppers. Even in a 4v5, the mistimed Impalement Peldor lived. He was able to get the taunt, and they blew away a Nubrak, a lower health tank. The laser drill is dropped to prevent the members of Habitual Line Steppers, and the bomb does push Varian into an area where he's more vulnerable. Now, without their tank, they have to try and take care of this without getting caught. Dahaka is forced to defend the dwarf core. Again, Urbanpunk playing safely back here, trying to defend this. Here comes a bomb. They have a lot of great delay tactics here. Varian is killed. Now both teams are without a tank. Boomer, he does get caught, tries to get on the Lagwagon, but instead is killed. But there's a bunch of damage onto the Tychus. This isolation comes out. No More Heroes goes very aggressive, but out comes the Molten Core again from Ragnaros. He's going to try and kill Greymane here, who only has 600 health. He is killed. Vern does get a grab on the Junkrat here, but oh, the stun is mistimed, but there's more. A ton of damage on the Sunroku, but now it is a 2v4 as a Nubrak comes back to life. Turtwig attempting to catch his, he's blown over the wall! But during that time, the Dwarven commander was killed by minion waves. The Winions win game number 1 for the Horde! And what an absolutely splendid game of Heroes of the Storm, ladies and gentlemen. Kills even. Both teams well over level 20. And we just see some great play. Now, much lower damage numbers for the members of Habitual Line Steppers, but they weren't playing to just output damage. They were playing to find advantages And a number of times they did that. In the end, that feeling of urgency worked against them. They kept trying to find ways to um, blow up the members of Rage so that they could take the camp, and they did lose track. In fact, I lost track of just how much damage Vandar Stormpike was taking from the minions. And eventually, his Sonya impression was not enough. He does not heal when he spins, meaning he is an inferior Sonya. And that is game number one, going to Rage Gaming. My goodness gracious, what a game one. This caster is hoping that we see a game 2 and 3 from these guys, because hot damn was that an even game number one. So, without too much delay, we're going to see where we're going for game number two. It will be on Volskaya Foundry, and again, I don't have the privilege of knowing who chose this. We will exit replay from game one and pop into the replay of game number two. And again, so excited to see game two after how much fun game number one was. So Volskaya Foundry is another map where team fights, I guess you could say, are the focus, but there's a possibility. It's a large enough map where macro does play its part. Um, each side has a siege camp in the top lane and a item camp for a turret in the bot lane. But it doesn't push, you simply collect something from it. There's a neutral healing beacon in the middle, and it heals while you fight it, so at lower levels it can be harder to capture. Excuse me. Without getting invaded by your opponents. Um, a lot of times we'll see big team fights on the point, but often teams will kind of wait till they think they have an advantage. There's a lot of openings on the point as well, giving you flank opportunities, so there can be some really interesting fights there. But if a team feels like they can't really contest, we'll often see if the point is top or bottom. The opposing team will in fact just go to the farthest fort or keep and attempt to put pressure there to draw their enemies away from the point in the hopes of getting that tree glove protector. So, excellent, excellent game one. Without further ado, let's get into game two, have a quick look at the drafts of these teams, and we'll get started on game two between Habitual Line Steppers and really aggro Ghoul Elites. So we see here that Habitual Line Steppers have chosen Junkrat, Johanna, Stukov, Samuro, and Sylvanas. Samuro is such an annoying hero on large maps. He has the ability to push pretty well anywhere without really being caught out. It's very hard to chase a Samuro and successfully gank him or successfully kill him. Your team can use him to be annoying to backliners such as healers or mages, but if that's not really an option for your team, he can just constantly push and force one or two players to follow him around. As for the rest of the team, really good point control. Junkrat controls exits and entrances. Stukov controls exits and entrances. Both of Sylvanas' ult, whether it's Wailing Arrow or Mind Control, controls entrances and exits. So I get the feeling this team wants to get to the point first, especially after 10, and force their opponents through a menagerie of different types of obstacles, silence pools, Junkrat mines, Junkrat traps, Johanna condemns, and Sylvanas ults, which will make getting in safely seem difficult, but with characters like Sonya, Anubrak, Mephisto, Zeratul, and Anduin, they can actually get past that. This is a very strong, I would say, counter draft from the members of Rage. Mephisto can E over those obstacles, Anubrak can E over those obstacles, Sonya can take leap and just her way past anything that is in her way. Zeratul is a decent, not amazing, but decent answer into the Samuro, making him wonder if he's safe anywhere on the map. And Anduin, just a top-notch healer, which can pull people out of all those traps we just talked about. I actually feel this time the there's a lot of options for HLS, but there's a lot of answers from Rage. It's going to depend a lot on how good Sunraku's Zeratul is, in my opinion, but I actually do think this draft, while I think the better characters are on Habitual Line Steppers, I actually believe that the easier to play compositionally is to Rage. But again, As I say at the beginning of every game, all matchups are skill matchups, especially in the lower divisions. So let's instead hop in and introduce our teams. On the blue side, representing Habitual line steppers, we have No More Heroes on Junkrat, Vern15 playing Johanna, Turtwig plays Stukov, Peldor on Samuro, and Boomer APM playing Sylvanas. And on the red side, we have really aggro ghoul elites channeling their rage. After working for orcs, they are now free agents. We've got Mephisto, played by K4K, Honey Badger being played by Anubarak, Urban Punk playing Sonya, Sunraku on Zeratul, and Lagwagon bringing the Crybaby Anduin. That's why everyone comes to my stream for these high effort sound effects, Calamancy. It's all about the SFX. All right, so we don't often see extra wound timers from Junkrat. That's an interesting level 1. And Laws of Hope as opposed to Flashlight for the Johanna, so giving her more sustain in longer fights. Although I do not believe with the heroes we see from Rage, long fights is going to be the go-to. We do have Low Blow. We have Way of the Wind for Samuro, which gives him more sustain as well. So they may actually be going for more rotations and more destruction early, try to put pressure on the forts as opposed to looking for Triglav, but I could be wrong. On the far side, we do have the Skull Missile talent, Unyielding Power for Mephisto. We have Beetle build again for Honey Badger. It worked fairly well for him last time. We have Block for Sonya, Tough as Nails. We have a Cleave build, Greater Cleave on Sunraku's Zeratul, and we have Even-Handed Blessings from the Anduin. In the bot lane, Urban Punk is able to pressure Peldor, and in fact, she is one of the characters that doesn't find his clones as annoying because she can heal off them the more there are. And with Tough as Nails, she is able to block a fair number of those autos with their crits. The red team is going immediately for their turret camp while the blue team rotates together. They are fairly equal at the moment in terms of experience. Sunraku is going to take this top camp, but is taking a lot of damage from these siege camp. He must have practiced this if he knows that he's able to do this without dying. I'm sorry, I can't look anywhere else. Is Zeratul going to be killed by creepy little machines? He's only doing 40 damage now. Okay, he'll be alright. That was close. We have a wet noodle fight between tanks in the mid lane. And now we do have Turtwig and No More Heroes taking this camp. Now, I do think this was too early of a camp capture from the members of Rage, and I'll tell you why. The first point is here. This will be well cleared before this ever becomes an issue, so I don't think the timing of that was the best. Yes, it puts pressure on lane for a moment, but it's not like the members of Habitual line steppers have poor wave clear. So I think the timing on that, it was a neat trick, but it didn't give them an experience advantage because they then had to go clear waves. And it's now cleared, and it will not be a distraction during the time of the point. Now, it did give them an opportunity. They do decide to aggressively attack, take half of the tower here. We see a counter pushback here from Habitual line steppers. And so they're looking to control the map more so than necessarily go for special timings. But we'll see if it helps them, or if the timed camp is of more value. Now, Zeratul is considered to be a character who gets stronger as he levels. He scales pretty hard, and at 16, he's considered to be at his strongest. Peldor does get stunned by the Impale there, and the Bed of Barbs is here as another deterrent. And again, it does look like they're actually, for the moment at least, going to give up. Yes, they're giving up the point. They're going to attack the top with black arrows. They are going instead for a siege build. We do have Junkrat being a goalkeeper here, and there is a rotation from K4K and from Anduin. Sunraku is extremely low. Samuro and Urban Punk contesting the point here. We are going to see an outnumbered situation. Honey Badger is going to come in from the flank. They do get on Johanna. Vern is just backing away. The damage potential is very low. Out comes the silence from Turtwig. They're not able to put any permanent damage onto the Johanna, but this is going to give them an opportunity to try and outnumber on the point as they rotate more quickly. Boomer is out of mana here. Honey Badger's in a poor position. It takes a lot of damage, but he is able to be kept healed up by Anduin, one of the stronger throughput healers in the game. Urban Puck does slam a Seismic Slam onto Turtwig, but it is overtime now. They cannot afford to step off the point. Samuro pushing, Junkrat goalkeeping, and it seems like they're just trying to slow down this capture as opposed to contest it. But the first Triglav Protector will come out to the side of Rayleigh Aggro Ghoul Elite. So they've already taken the tower down here, so they have prepped this lane as well. That's something this team is doing really well. They're prepping lanes for when the objective will help them. This is actually, I would argue, this is higher level than we normally see out of Divi. This is a team who goes, we're going to be here later, let's set it up so that we get more value later. We don't have to break everything now, we just need to set it up to give us more value. So very, very smart. As a team that loves team fighting, they're kind of early macro very, very good. Honey Badger does get stuck, but is pulled out immediately by a great pull from Lagwagon, as Sunroku just manages to E his way out. K4K looking to disrupt the rotation, but none was forthcoming from the members of Habitual Line Steppers. And again, we're totally even on experience, even with those gates going down to the Triglav Protector. Sonya is now preparing the spot lane as Samuro is clearing out middle. And they're doing a really good job of spending exactly the resources that ought to be spent in each lane. They know they didn't need Urban Punk for the push because they weren't going to take a building, so he can stay bottom. He can try to distract the Samuro. He's outpacing Samuro. If we look at the stats, well, not ahead in experience, but in terms of damage to buildings, Samuro's got very little. Sonya's already taken a tower, and the gate has got a breath and a prayer. Sunraku there does manage to get out from the silence and the pull from Vern and Turtwig. They are going to clear this camp out. Heldor getting pushed back by Urban Punk Sonya. And here they took down the other tower. They're going to take down this gate. They are controlling the map in every area, even though experience is the same, even though kills are still at 0. Rage is in control of this game at the moment, and Habitual Line Steppers is going to have to figure out what they want to do to get control back. So the longer this game goes, the more dangerous Sunraku gets. Out comes the Blessed Shield as well as the Durance of Hate. Turtwig is in a very bad spot, being jumped on by the Nubrak. Sunraku is incredibly low and gets caught by a trap. Out comes the Cocoon onto Johanna, and it's going to get low blowed down. Again, nobody is dead. As for Tens, we see the Riptire, the Blessed Shield, we see Flailing Swipe from Stukov, Blade Storm from Samuro, and it is once again Wailing Arrow, which was often used to good effect by Boomer in the last game. On the other hand, we do see the Durance of Hate from Mephisto, the big lockdown talent. Cocoon, Leap, We see Might of the Nerazim, which is normal on Cleave Zeratul, and Light Bomb. Light Bomb Zeratul is a terrifying concept. If you can hit 2 or 3 people and he's using the cleave talents that increases damage, it can get absolutely terrifying for your backline to take that. So both teams are going to go back to clearing waves. Again, we've seen no kills in this game. Last game was so aggressive. Last game was fights, 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 fights. This game, both teams are playing so patiently, so carefully. They look for the engage onto Boomer, but he manages to mount up and get away. Vern, making sure there's no further chase. And this time, they're playing with orcs on their team. Look at that orc, Johanna. Vern just being an annoyance, letting his team clear and rotate. They're putting some damage onto Urban, but Sonya is not easily poked out. Samuro continues to push his monkey shenanigans in the bot lane. In the mid lane, they're pushing up against this gate. Sonya being sent to respond to the Monkey King / Orcish Blade Master. How does he truly identify? Nobody knows. We do see the rotate here. Here comes the leap onto Stukov. A big Wailing Arrow silences, but the Durance of Hate does come out, and it catches 3. Stukov is getting blown up, engaged upon by Honey Badger. Heldor getting Boomer out of his cocoon, but that is the first kill of this game, and it does go over to the really aggro Ghoul Elites as they prove their name once again. Junkrat in the top lane is popping these minions with bombs. Seems rude is rude, c'est la vie. Stukov will be back in 10 seconds. Nubrak goes back top to capture this point. And again, while fairly even, This game is completely in control. The pace, the tempo, the rotates. Habitual Line Steppers is looking for an opportunity to set the tempo back in their favor, but at the moment, it just isn't. K4K is going to drop the turret, which also gets shut down by Black Arrows. I hadn't known that previously. Lagwagon takes a rough rotate and gets in a lot of trouble. Out comes the Riptire, which does do a lot of damage to the healer, but he taps up, manages to stay alive. The point is already at 70% as Peldor continues to annoy the Sonya in the bot lane. They're looking to rotate onto the Monkey. He's just going to walk away from Sunroku, who really is enjoying... the seagull noise gets me every time. But they managed to chase down and kill a Nubrak in the top lane. This is good. This is what they've been looking for. This opportunity is what they wanted. They get a return kill. They get some map pressure. Peldor manages to live through this kind of double pressure of the Sonya and Sunroku. But again, Rage, they lose a hero. They have to give up the point. What are they going to do? They're going to get some macro pressure. A4K and Lagwagon are going to rotate bottom to help Sonya here. But in the top lane, Vern and Boom Rape Team have destroyed a fort. The first fort, after the game being so long in control of really Aggro Ghoul elites, the first fort will go over to the members of Habitual Line Steppers as they get their macro brains rolling. Now, bottom will go down to the members of really Aggro Ghoul elites. There's not really an opportunity to mount a defense here for Habitual Line Steppers, so they will be content to stay in the mid lane and try to prevent rotations toward the top as Johanna and Junkrat take this. Nubrak is top. He's simply clearing out minions. He knows better than to 1v5. Honey Badger is no idiot. The Triglav Protector at level 10, or at minute 10 at level 15 will go over to Habitual Line Steppers, who carved out for themselves a tiny, maybe quarter of a level lead right now in this game. Junkrat clearing bottom. Again, a great goalkeeping character. We have Sylvanas and Johanna in the Triglav Protector, and I would argue that Sylvanas, maybe not the best choice. Her ability to lock buildings down is lost while she stands in this mechanical Leviathan. They're walking towards the mid lane. The fort has half health. In the top, Stukov looks like Stukov has been caught by Sunroku and Urban Punk and is deleted. We're getting to the point in the game where there's not much that can be done about the power. And here comes the Turns of Hate. It's going to catch Junkrat. He's killed. That's 2 members dead while they have the Triglav Protector. In the top, Siege Camp is pushing. In the bottom, Samuro is pushing. But here, there is a stun onto Vern and Boomer that do manage to get away. Elder will be chased away by Urban Punk. But this mid fort is at 5%. The bottom fort, 50%. Some really good macro. And the top keep is actually taking damage from a catapult. And from this, Zeratul is being sent to handle it. Blue team was considering sieging up in the mid lane. But now they're going to be a little more patient. Johanna is a hard character to gank. They are going to try to put some CC onto Boomer. Honey Badger goes in, and K4K is using the Mephisto Lightning Circle. I'm trying to remember what the Lightning Circle is called. I feel like I should know, but I'm drawing a complete blank. If somebody in the chat knows, feel free to inform me. There is the collection of the turret by Honey Badger and Urban Punk. K4K has just finished his unyielding power quest with Skullmaster. Here comes the Sunroku. It only does, but the leap does go down onto Stukov. They're looking for Stukov every time. Urban Punk is down to half. The cocoon does come out onto Sylvanas, but Vern is fine. The health bars are looking better for the members of Habitual Line Steppers, although Samuro is bottom. They're playing a defensive action, but Sunroku with a brilliant jump in, using that might of the Narazim power to jump onto Sylvanas and finish her off. But in the meantime, they lose their bottom fort while it was still at half health. With the character advantage, Rage is going to go for this healing beacon. However, Habitual Line Steppers is using this Samuro and saying, we don't want a team fight. We don't care about team fights. They're going to have to be careful here. There's a 4-4, and again, they're going for Churchwick. They know the main part of this comp is this. He puts the silence at his own feet, which forces Honey Badger to step out. Sunroku trying to get the auto attacks on. They're putting a lot of damage on this healer. He steps out through the lightning shade and manages to stay alive on only 300 hit points. The pull there by Lagwagon, I think that was unnecessary, but just making sure. He probably has the double pull and was tired of those charges stacking up. Samuro's going to come in and attack and kill the mid fort. So now it is a 2-building advantage for the members of the Habitual Line Steppers. Lightning Nova. I think you're right, Calamancy. Good call. Good call. So, Rage is going to take their siege camp. In the bottom, we've got the 5 men of Habitual Line Steppers taking their turret camp. Sonya is bottom, pushing out waves. Both teams are now in a race to level 20, and now it is in fact Rage who is slightly ahead in experience. But big waves are pushing into Habitual Line Steppers. Peldor, again, looking just to be annoying, to get the team split, to get the team frustrated. They are going to jump onto this middle fort, and I don't think the members are in a position to stop it. No, they're not. The mid fort will go down to really Aggro Ghoul Elite as they move as a cohesive 4-man to take the mid fort. Neither team is playing poorly, which is what makes this such an incredible match. Both teams see opportunities and take them. It looks like they're trying to gank Peldor here. He is going to use the Blade Storm here. He sidesteps both the Impale and the Burrow Charge. Some great dancing shoes there by Monkey King Peldor. Samuro, did you bring your dancing shoes tonight? Because you Blade Stormed into sidestep, Artistic. As he's here to annoy Sunraku. 20s do come out first, but it's equivalent. Both sides 20 at the same time. We have the Durance of Hate upgrade, a silence with the root. And for 3 seconds after, dang, that's really, really strong. We've got Rewind from Anubarak, Ignore Pain from Sonya. We have the Might on Nerazim upgrade, resetting the cooldown of basic abilities for Zeratul, and Censure for the Chastise. Blue team does manage to push the red team off with the 4v3 here, as we do see Sunraku dealing with the pressure in the top lane. In the bot lane, or sorry, for the blue team, we see that they took the Riptire upgrade, increase its knockback. We have the shield from Johanna, blinded by the light. Flailing Swipe, controlled chaos from Stukov. Wind Strider, giving Samuro a lot more opportunities to move. And Bolt of the Storm for Sylvanas, an original talent for the game. Out comes the Durance of Hate, but it's not going to hit anybody. A big miss there, and that's a big problem. But they do manage to put Junkrat and kill him. The controlled swipes from turn 2. Out comes the silence onto Sunraku, but they have lost a hero already. Samuro, on the other hand, has taken the keep in the top lane. He's pushing for the win. And Sonya has to be sent back to deal with that. Boomer APM looking at Zeratul here in the mid lane. She cannot duel him. That is a death sentence. Peldor, feeling cute today, decided he would just walk in and Blade Star. Samuraku looking at Peldor, trying to get some damage on, knowing he has to play this safe. We're up to 60% on the bottom collection point, and there is no fort in the bot lane for the members of Habitual Line Steppers. They're going to gather together and take this healing beacon in the top to give themselves a better defensive chance, as they are still down here over 20 more seconds. That is one of the tremendous downsides of Junkrat. His health scaling is incredibly low. In the late game, he's basically Tracer without the mobility. He's so squish. Sonya is taking the siege camp in the top at the moment to give multiple vectors of attack. Here comes the Triglav Protector with Zeratul and Anubarak in it. But they're going to walk past it. They're going to allow this to happen. Out comes the Root. Lagwagon pops a light bomb just defensively to save himself. He's taking a lot from Boomer APM here. Meanwhile, Junkrat is defending in the bottom. Sonya's pushing in the top. What a chaotic mess this endgame has become. The Triglav Protector is down about half health as it punches this keep in its mechanical face. But here come the rest of the blue team, and this team is pretty much alone. Peldor is being chased. Urban Punk gets a great... And there's a leap, but I get a amazing switch by Peldor! Oh my goodness! They're jumping on Sunraku. He's silenced. The Blizzard comes out and kills him as well. Out comes the Riptire, but a Honey Badger pops the Rewind and does get out. If somebody has clipping skills, maybe clip that Peldor portion for Cyanide, because he's going to want that in the highlights. What a beautiful leap dodge there by Peldor's Samuro. You can tell he is very comfortable on this sidestep and Monkey King. Otherwise, I'll find the timestamp for it later, so no worries if you can't. Honey Badger comes to scout, gets pushed back by Vern 15. And again, this game is going late. The Samuro is providing so much value, but both teams have lost one keep. This game is neck and neck. The next major mistake is the end of this game. I'm calling it right now. Both teams are getting that restless energy, but they're both playing so patiently. They're playing patiently. You can tell both teams, they want the fight that says, we win this game. Now, it's less desperate for the members of Rage because they did win Game 1, but no team wants to start losing. Wants to lose Game 2 and feel like they're at risk of the reverse sweep. That doubt creeps a little bit into your head, and that is not what the members of Rage want to have happen. But Habitual Line Steppers, they knew what their win condition was. It was let Samuro be an annoying pain in the butthole, and he has managed to, in fact, be an annoying pain in the rectal area. Rage is looking for this fight. Again, they don't want to deal with this. Peldor looking for the rotate, but Urban Punk reading it beautifully. Understanding where he needs to be. He needs to deal with these catapults pushing towards the keep. All the lanes currently are prioritized for the side of Habitual Line Steppers. The team will move as 5 to go top and clear out the siege camp and the wave here. Peldor goes bottom. The main four men are in the mid lane. There's a catapult pushing. And for the moment, again, Rage playing very patiently. They want to fight, but they also don't want to get picked. So they're being incredibly patient. They ping that this is not a safe way to come through. So they will take the safe way. It is a 5v4. In the top lane, Zeratul is clearing. And Habitual Line Steppers know that. Peldor will begin by being annoying on that gate. The clones are there. They're blocking the catapult. Urban Punk and K4K will come and hit this. I'm running out of things to say in this game. It has been an absolutely stunning match. So they're considering taking the camp, but they have been followed by really Aggro Ghoul elites. The trap does land onto Honey Badger. The cocoon comes out onto Johanna. They're looking for the follow-up here. The silence is there, and a great puddle there by Turtle. The light bomb comes out, but it's not able to be followed up by Honey Badger. That ultimate is now down for 60 seconds, and 60 seconds on Honey Badger as well. So now the ult advantage is the Habitual Line Steppers. Sunroku's taking so much damage here. The lead from Urban Punk is onto Boomer, but a great flailing swipe, and Zeratul is killed by the Riptire. It's a 5v4, and Samuro is pushing in the bot lane. He's pushing. He's pushing. It's a boy. It's a work Swordmaster. Junkrat is on the point here as the rest of the blue team pushes towards mid. Zeratul, a huge portion of the threat and damage of Rage. They have to play it safely now. They wasted 2 ultimates. They couldn't follow up the cocoon. The light bomb was not correctly timed, and this is where you're starting to see that edge, those nerves, that feeling that we want this game to be over. It's been 21.5 minutes. We want the game to end. We want to win. And so their play is not quite as crisp, not quite as clean. Thank you for the clip, Elemancy. You are awesome. Both turrets collected. Now we've got 4 turrets and a healing beacon. Every member carrying an item. And they have all their ults up except for the Wailing Arrow. The same is true on the other side, and Zeratul will be up right now. Honey Badger is looking at the point. It's at 97, 98, 99. They're just going to back off. They're going to give the Triglav Protector, which at this point has 35,000 health. What a game. What a game! This is Div E! This is Div E, and the games are this damn good. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? Sunrocket, they're looking at Boomer, but out comes the silence. He's in a bad position. The Bailing Swipe is trying to save his life. Another big flailing swipe. There is a cocoon onto Stukov. They're jumping on Boomer more. He's taking so much damage, he does go down. Out comes the shield from Johanna. She's unable to save. A big flailing swipe again from Turtwig as they drop the turret, and they have just Junkrat in the protector. It can't move right now because Junkrat wasn't the driver. Out comes the Riptire. Junkrat is going to send it out. Because even though they've lost Sylvanas, the health bars are beefier on their side at the moment, as there are 2 members of Rage who are at half health. Johanna is in the protector, meaning she cannot peel for her team at the moment, but they're still moving confidently. Sunraku looking for the flank from the back here. He's also at half health. Out comes the light bomb. They're going to jump onto the back line. They do get Pelder, but another great swipe from Turtwig. Sunraku doesn't care, manages to jump back in. Out comes Endurance, and it's going to do huge problem for Junkrat. He just managed to be saved by that flailing swipe. A silence is also onto Pelder. Out comes the bomb. It does kill Sunroku. There's the leap, but she's killed as well. Sonya's dead, and have they still have the protector. They're chasing down K4K on Mephisto. He is pulled away by Lagwagon, but they're so low, and the protector has 25 seconds left on it. What a game. There's the stun onto Anduin. He has no escape tools right now. The silence comes out as well. Honey Badger, they're trying to stop this mechanical monstrosity from punching their core, but at this point, it's chunking the shield up like nobody's business. The Dirge of Hate comes out, but it misses. It hits nothing whatsoever. And now Junkrat and Johan are both in there. They're just flailing at this core, trying to kill it. The Cocoon does come out onto Stukov, but the timer is over. They're attacking the core. We're going to Game 3. Game 2 goes to Habitual Line Steppers. GG. Sorry for the shouting. I probably peaked my mic straight to hell. But my gracious. What a game 2. What a series. These are two of the better teams in Div E, and I can tell you they are entertaining me a crazy amount. Now, interestingly enough, these teams played so careful that the damage numbers are incredibly low for what was, I think, a 23, 24-minute game. Just incredible. The kills are only 6-5 in a 23-minute game. Both these teams, it was like playing chess until those final few moments. Truly incredible. I have no analysis for this game other than hot damn. Hot damn. Just incredible. Samuro was amazing. Stukov's silences were just on point over. Vern never died somehow as the tank. Peldor managed to just switch out of that leap. Incredible. Just amazing. I thought Sunraku's Zeratul was very good. It wasn't top level, but it was very good. And unfortunately, it seems like HLS was just kind of ready for it. Clip the Peldor leap dodge. Thanks, Friends versus Fiction. Yeah, I think Calamancy might have got to grab that too, but I'm glad to have it. So yeah, a truly incredible game number 2, which promises us game number 3. So let's see where these teams take us for the explosive finale of this Div E series between HLS and Rage. The only thing that's not fair here is I have 3 casts scheduled for today. These suckers are going to run me out of voice before I get out through the first one. So, game number 3 is going to be played on Tomb of the Spider Queen, our first small map of the day. And I wonder how this changes things. This will not allow for the same kind of split them up macro that the last 2 larger games allowed for. This is going to very much prefer big team fights, big turnarounds, getting double turn-ins, things like this. So there are a lot of fantastic just ways to play this map, but it does favor quick rotations, crisp rotations, clean team fights, which I think would favor Rage, but you know what? HLS showed in the last game they are no strangers to a clean team fight, so I'm really looking forward to see how this game goes. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me for game number 3 of Habitual Line Steppers versus Really Aggro Ghoul Elites here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. So the blue team has drafted Greymane, Garrosh, Malfurion, Dahaka, and Chromie, which is interesting. Chromie, Greymane, Garrosh make me think blow up, and the Malf must be for the roots because they don't want to have long fights. They want to pick and blow up from what I see here. They have good siege. They have decent defense against spiders. Honestly, I feel like the linchpins of this strategy is going to be Garrosh, Malfurion, and Turtwig has shown that they have incredibly good timing and follow-up to what Vern does, so I think they have really good chemistry. Eldor's Dahaka. Dahaka is not his strongest map in the whole world just because it isn't huge, but again, there's enough kind of vents on this map that Race Car can allow you to kind of pop in and out, get lots of speed, rotate quickly, get a tongue people weren't expecting because you were just in bot lane. So it's not his strongest map, but Dahak is never a bad character. On the other side, for Rage, we have Tychus, Diablo, Rhaegar, Blaze, Nazebo. A little bit of a scaling comp here, but honestly, this is a great map for Blaze. Because the lanes are close together, he can come out of Fog of War for a really good AoE stun. Diablo can follow up on that, or he can follow up on a Diablo flip. Tychus has lots of opportunity to burn down the tankier members of HLS, and Nazebo is just really solid on this map. Toad build, this is one of the few maps where Toad build is actually really strong. It's almost kind of like ARAM, this map where the lanes are so close together you can kind of consider it one big ARAM. There's always an opportunity to 5v5. So let's see which team can take this home. Ladies and gentlemen, game 3 between HLS and Rage. For Habitual line steppers, we've got Greymane played by No More Heroes, Vern 15 playing Garrosh, Turtwig on the Malfurion, Peldor on Dahaka, and Chromie being played by Boomer APM. On the red side, we have the really aggro Ghoul elites, and they're not just a little aggro, they are really aggro! Tychus, played by K4K, Honey Badger on Diablo, Lagwagon playing Rhaegar, Urban Punk playing Blaze, and Sun Raku on Nazebo. We see Viciousness again from the Worgen. We have Unrivaled Strength for Garrosh. We do have Sleepy Roots, Emerald Dreams for Malfurion. We have Race Car and Deep Breathing. So not the vision control, but Deep Breathing, meaning those Ws are going to be incredibly dangerous. Although none of the characters on Rage are the squishiest in slot sort of thing. Like, Nazebo can get pretty tanky. Tychus isn't particularly bursty or burstable. Good flip there by Vern, but an equally good charge out there by Honey Badger. On the far side, we do have the press the advantage, so the range, auto range increase for Tychus. We see Spell Shield for Diablo, Totem build, and that's called Colossal Totem for Rhaegar. Adrenaline Stim Pack, as per usual, for the offlane Blaze, and we do have Toad build. We have ARAM build for Nazebo. So with smaller lanes like this, with really close together lanes, with lots of choke points around the turn-ins, Toad build gets more value here than it would almost anywhere else. In the bot lane, the off lane also are doing bot lane things. There is the stun. He's still gonna get damage on a Peldor. K4K is actually coming down here, and Peldor's on the wrong side of town. He doesn't belong here! You don't belong here, Zergy! As they blow away Dahaka, and K4K is gonna take this camp because they did find a rotational advantage. That's what happens when a Zerg is on the wrong side of town, you know? You get shanked. Just get shanked. It's sad. It's sad, the state of the world. Zerg lives matter. Actually, that was way too political, and I apologize. Not a ton of damage yet for Dibs. I think they'll go bullet this time instead of go for the throat, which can make... I think sometimes, because he has Spell Shield and he doesn't have really a way to do autos, I would guess this is more of a Greymane build, or a Worgen build, Greymane, where he goes bullet straight into Worgen attacks, which can chunk Diablo faster than Diablo's expecting, especially after 20 with the Blunderbuss. And this is a team that wants to go to 20. They have a Nazebo. So Greymane at 20 can really actually chunk out a Diablo fairly hard. But I think you're right. In the early game, they're fairly safe to have Diablo and Nazebo because... this side is scaling too. There is the time stop on Diablo. There is the root. There's the knock-up. And are they going to flip him? They do flip him into the team. He can just charge out again. When are they going to learn? Diablo is just going to charge at Vern. They're not going to get a kill here. The offlane nails are doing offlane as sings. Peldor misses the tongue. It hits a minion instead of Urban Punk. I'm going to sneeze. There's the flip on a Honey Badger, but it's just into his own camp to do a little bit of damage to that Spell Shield minion. And, yeah, Chromie is very good at clearing just about anything at a long range. She's got 8 stacks of that Deep Breathing completed. We do have In the Rhythm for Tychus, so longer minigun duration, if I recall correctly. Yes. So Raku gets caught and killed. Nazebo does not have a lot of skills for escaping, and he showed right there his lack of skills for escaping. Honey Badger did use his charge there, but Vern chose not to flip him. I wonder if it was still on cooldown. But notably, we haven't seen Master Assassin, which makes me think this is drill build for K4K as opposed to the Odin. Now, in the bottom lane, Peldor is getting bullied, and Urban Punk is a very strong player. He's quite skilled. He plays a number of different roles, and he is able to bully other offlaners. I was pretty lucky when we played against Rage. He wasn't he wasn't in the draft, so he was subbed for, and that probably was to my benefit. Although I think I was tanking that day, so I guess it didn't matter. Both teams currently are desyncing the waves. Boomer, good check there, making sure the rotate was safe. It wasn't, and so they go the safer way. And again, the waves are desynced. They're both taking waves opposite each other. They're looking at turning in bottom, but they might also be looking to aggro on Peldor as he's very low and there's only one turret to defend. They are taking a turn opportunity. They have enough for Web Weavers. They do jump on No More Heroes. Grammy, not a lot of opportunities to escape, but a good follow-up route there by Malfurion. Hilariously enough, his wife is a more aggressive character than he is in the healer slot, so he's just kind of a really chill guy, Malfurion. Blah, blah, blah. Yo! The Zebo's great. If that dude's not high on acid 24/7, then I can't explain his behavior, but I'm pretty sure he's high on acid 24/7. They're looking for the follow-up Nazebo pick. They got one earlier, but this time Sunraku is very wary. Doesn't put himself into Garrosh's hands. He does put some toads onto Chromie. She does get caught in the wall. Boomer's taking a lot of damage. There's no one here to support. Boomer took a tough rotation and gets 1v1 by Sunraku's Nazebo. That has got to be just a tiny bit annoying. And this game has been a little more bloodthirsty than game number 2. These teams are going back to being aggressive. Red Web Weavers will descend for the members of Rage. They have collected enough spider butts to bribe a Spider Queen. I do not want to understand why Spider Queens value spider butts. Vern, they managed to flip Diablo in, and he hasn't got a good escape plan here. Out comes the wall for Earthquake. They're trying to damage the healer, but they're not able to get enough there. They've got no damage here, though. Oh, they stand in the corruption wave, but it does a lot of damage to them. In the mid lane, Chromie is clearing. In the bot lane, Peldor is clearing. He does manage to get a good grab onto Urban Punk, who does manage to jet propulsion right back out. There's the flip onto Vern, but he pops his unstoppable, does get out, so he can't be charged back into the opposing team. Lots of damage, but Malfurion a great healer for Garrosh. As he gets more armor, he just keeps his armor while this damage is going slow. There is full stacks for Diablo. The drill will come out as they've hit 10, 3/4 of a level ahead of the members of Habitual Line Steppers. The drill goes down quickly. But Gary, the Gargantuan, is out. Vern gets knocked into the team and is getting super chunked by K4K. Vern, he's trying to survive, but he is blown away. Even with his W, he is killed by the incredible percent damage of the Tychus trait. And they are going to get this top fort after just one Web Weaver. Normally you need a back-to-back Web Weaver to see a lot of structure value on the map, but hitting level 10 first, getting lots of clear first, it's given them the opportunity here. Haldor is trying to turn in, but he's not quite quick enough. He has to back away here. He does not want to lose his 26 but a great jet propulsion from Urban Punk. They're now body blocking. They've used the oil. The silence does come out, but Peldor is going to go down. Will he live this? This is incredible. Peldor manages to walk away with excellent use of his abilities, not losing the 26 gems his team needs to turn in to get their own Web Weaver phase. Excellent work surviving there by Peldor's Dahaka. Meanwhile, K4K is taking the siege camp in the bottom lane. Blue team is looking to see if there are opportunities. Peldor is getting a bit low. He does tongue a minion. I think he was trying to bait his opponents, but he has to be careful now. A mistimed misstep, and 29 gems go down les toilettes. That was French. So we do see the siege camp pushing, which will do a fair amount of damage to the Web Weaver, but it is being responded to by the members of Habitual Line Steppers. No More Heroes is far up, does not want to be caught by a Diablo here. They're already behind in levels. In the bot lane, Urban Punk is free pushing this back. Peldor is finally going to have to back, but that means giving his lane away to Siege Giants, who will chunk his fort. There is a stun. It is onto a squishy. Lagwagon takes so much damage, and Rhaegar is dead. And if there's one thing these Web Weavers like more than spider butts, it's murder. Eldor digs back bottom, does manage to kill that before his fort takes too much damage. In the mid lane, the gate is down, but they have not even touched the fort so far. They are the ones who are going to need a back-to-back to see value from the Web Weavers, as the clear and push from Rage that they've drafted is top-notch. Urban Punk is going to try and dissuade Peldor from turning in here. No, he's just going to push in the bottom lane. He leaves the Haka unpunished. Greymane and Malfurion are taking their own bruiser camp. There's not enough turn-in, but they're only 3 away for the members of Rage Gaming at the moment. Vern looking at Honey Badger, but has no follow-up, so chooses not to flip the Lord of Terror. They're rotating towards Peldor again. He has tongues, but here comes K4K. There's the slow. Out comes the burrow. He managed to pop Lurker Strain, probably saving his life. Out comes the laser drill. They're going to get this bottom fort. Vern is coming down, but the rest of the team is too slow. They managed to push them back with just a Garrosh. There you go. Not knowing where the enemy heroes were means they had some freedom. Chromie is turning in the top lane. They are very close to their back-to-back turn-in. Both sides now have enough for the turn-in, I do believe. Churchwick is turning in his 6. We haven't seen a 5-5 team yet. Out comes the Cursed Bullet. A tongue just misses Lagwagon. The charge in there by Honey Badger. Out comes the Roots. The Lightning Breath comes out, doing a ton of damage to the Garrosh. Peldor is stuck in the wall, but manages to use his trait. He is still alive, but the 4-man is pushed back as Chromie supports her siege camp mid. She's now being chased down. Remember, she has no fort on the top to protect her. Boomer is saying to his team, just let me die, boys. Just let me die. This is it for me. Goodbye. A savage butt bite. But blue team manages to trade the life of their dragon gnome for a Web Weaver turn-in. They've got about a quarter damage on this mid fort. The Web Weavers are coming down now. Honey Badger is here. He does get thrown into the team, but they don't have Greymane here to follow up damage. So while they can CC him for the rest of his life, he's not going to die. He's got 100 souls. Greymane's over here, guys. See, on the minimap, if you install this DLC, you can see where your teammates are. And your enemies if they're in vision. Yay, minimap DLC. This bottom Web Weaver will be cleared quickly. Peldor does get flipped in on a good jet propulsion from Urban Punk. There is a early ancestral healing onto Honey Badger. They are putting damage onto Peldor. Honey Badger is flipped out so he can stop doing damage. They're just trying to delay them down here as Chromie pushes mid and Greymane pushes top into Sunraku. But Gary the Gargantuan, he gets called off in the middle of his day off. And that's why he's so ornery and slap happy. Just sick and tired of things interrupting him on his day off. No more heroes will back away. So again, no buildings captured by HLS. Their macro is starting to weaken a little bit in this game. They're struggling to deal with the clear that we're seeing now. Urban Punk is here. He gets caught. He was looking at the minimap. A big tongue there. And this time they do have damage set up. Out comes the bunker, but the root stops him. The lightning breath from from Diablo. Urban Punk does get out with the use of that bunker, but it's a 5v5 now. Chromie with the huge deep breathing damage coming out, but Rhaegar with the burst heals to counteract that. And again, a good setup on a lone hero, but because the lanes are so close together, an instant response from Rage, and they keep their offlaner alive. 16's coming. So we didn't really go over the ultimates, but I think we've seen most of them. We've got Laser Drill, Lightning Breath, Ancestral Healing, Bunker, and Gargantuan on the other side. We have Cursed Bullet, Decimate, as opposed to Taunt, which many Garrosh mains are telling me is stronger at the moment, or they prefer it. It gives you a little more utility, a little more option. Honey Badger does get flipped in, but again, charges out Vern. He's going to take a lot of damage here. Out comes the Cursed Bullet! Honey Badger is dead, and he loses his souls. He will be back in 5 seconds. He's down to 25 souls instead of 100, which makes him remarkably more squishy. We have Tranquility, Isolation, and Slowing Sands as opposed to the Temporal Loop. Red team will fall back as they wait for their tank to come back to their siege camp. They do get their Web Weavers, but both teams seeming to struggle to really capitalize much on the Web Weavers besides the first one by Rage. Peldor does get caught. A good slam there by Honey Badger. Peldor will lose 23 gems as he is murdered by the really aggro ghoul elites. They've got to rotate more quickly than this if they want to stay alive. There is a good knock-up. Urban Punk with a jet propulsion. A good slowing sands and a good root means the team stays alive here. Bunker comes out to make sure that Blaze is not in trouble. Out comes the laser drill, and it's far enough back now that it should be able to melt this fort, and the bottom fort will go down for Habitual Line Steppers, as it looks like Gary, he's trying to punch these spiders. He does not like getting called in on his day off. This is ridiculous, he says. I pay union dues to the zombie guild that I don't have to come in on my days off. Ridiculous. Game number 3 is looking, it's like it's very much in the hands of Rage. We know what happened last time the game was in their hands. A great turnaround happened from the members of Habitual Line Steppers. Can they turn this one around? Or is Rage going to keep hold on this game and prevent the reverse sweep? The top keep has got catapults on it and is down to about 10% of its total health. If a boss play happens, this will not be able to protect the members of Habitual Line Steppers. Good tongue there on the catapult to pull it into mercability. Red team feeling confident. They are going to start this boss. They don't have Vile Infection, but they do have a Tychus, and they are burning this very quickly. Senraku steps in for some reason. Apparently, he just really wanted a hug from this monster. Kaldor's going to sniff this up. They're just too slow. This boss will be captured by the members of the really Aggro Ghoul Elite. We were just talking about this. This fort has no health. If they push with it, this is going to be trouble for Habitual Line Steppers. They're guaranteed to lose the top keep. And they've also got a huge wave pushing bottom while Nazeebo clears out this mid wave. It doesn't look like Rage wants to push with Sandy the Cyclops bottom here. What? That made no sense. Don't listen to me, guys. I'm nuts. And one punch. Two punch. They've taken out 2/3 of its health, but their top keep is down. This is like a... What do they call it? It's like a Sphinx mixed with a Centaur. Sphinctor. Oh, no. Let's not call him a Sphinctor, guys. That's bad news. We're just going to call him the boss. I think Sphinctor is a bad idea. Oh no, a catapult is attacking the shields, guys, so there's going to be a turn in here. They don't quite have enough for another set of web weavers. Things have calmed down for a minute, guys. I can have my breath back. These teams are so nice. It is a level and a quarter lead for the members of the really Aggro Ghoul Elites, and they have not yet lost a building whatsoever. Blue team does have enough for a turn, and so while the entire red team goes to collect the bottom camp, there is going to be a turn in from the members of Habitual Line Steppers. However, one's going to start here, one's going to start here, and one's going to start here. So it's definitely not going to be any kind of threat to the members of the really Aggro Ghoul Elite as they wait to hit 20 for their final push. More than enough Vile Infection stacks for Nazeebo here. He will definitely get Vile Infection at 20. And he does, and it's done. We see the bunker improvement for Blaze. We see the laser drill improvement for Tychus. Focusing diodes. We see Hellgate for Diablo and Farseer's Blessing. So the double proc AoE Ancestral. Peldor does get flipped there, but an attempt for a disengage. Oh, there's the Hellgate, but a good tongue by Peldor means he doesn't get flipped into it. Gary gets called in on his day off again, and he says, you know what? I'm just going to be lazy this time. I'm going to slap a minion or two, but... you know, you called me too many times today. Unlist my number. Urban Punk is just clearing this top web weaver while it gets next to no value. But it's going to be a 4v5 here. Peldor's taking a ton of damage, but he does manage to pop his straight and burrow. Burrow's taking way too much damage, and he does go down. The Ancestral comes out on Lagwagon. This team is very split. The second Ancestral. Turtwig is using Tranquility here, but Peldor is down to 90 hit points, and now it's a 4v3. In comes Turtwig is going to go down. Boomer APM is still trying to do damage, but there it goes. No more heroes on Greyman. They weren't 20 yet. Down goes Boomer as well, and this looks like it's going to be the end of game number 3 and this series. A 4-for-0. A desperate 19-20 team fight. They managed to pull it off last time, but this time it did not go. And game number 3 and this series, incredible series that it was, is going to go over to the members of the really aggro Ghoul Elites. No reverse sweep today, Habitual Line Steppers. You've met your match. 2-1 victory for really aggro Ghoul Elites. GG. So this one a bit of a mix of Game 1 and Game 2. More kills than Game 2. Less kills than Game 1. Still not huge damage for a game that hit level 20. And some really good plays from both teams. Again, a really, really fun series to watch from these teams. Look forward to seeing if they play in playoffs against each other. Um, Rage really starting to come together. Uh, like I mean, they've been great all year. I'm not saying that they haven't been, but they're looking really crisp with their follow-ups. Their chemistry is clicking really, really well. And I think they're a team to beat for the members of Div E. They're a very, very strong unit with strong individual players, strong team play, excellent team fights. They did get run around a little bit on not all track pass on Volskaya by the Samuro, but really they didn't show much weakness in this series. On the other hand, habitual line steppers also looked really, really good. Um, just by measures of degrees. But I think the scary thing in this series for other members of Division E and maybe Division D in the future, the control, the unrelenting control that Rage wants to put on the map, is tricky. Is tricky for teams, and they love these smaller maps. They love the fast rotations. They love the clear calls. So GG's, an amazing series from both of these teams. And thank you so much for joining me. Again, the files or these VODs will be on Twitch for 7 days. They'll be on YouTube at Omster for the indefinite future. Thank you so much, everyone who joined. We will be casting another game in about a half an hour, another series, pardon me. I believe that will be the Div, not the Div B series. I think that's the Div C series. But anyway, there will be another cast in about half an hour. I'm going to go have a drink and get my voice back, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much.